Hey y'all, welcome to the Legacy Podcast. Tim Bratz here. Today I'm sitting down with my Chief Marketing Officer and Director of Acquisitions, Nick Burton, and it's all about creating clarity in what you're looking to do and what your ambitions are in your buying criteria for 2025. If you're looking to scale your portfolio, you're looking for acquisitions, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of ambition at the beginning of the year of what you're going to do, what you're going to acquire. I want to make sure that you have full 100% clarity on what that looks like. And so I'm sitting down with my Director of Acquisitions today to drill him with a bunch of different questions about how he creates clarity so he's not wasting his time on things that don't fit our buy box. And it's that more dialed in so that way people think of us first when they come across exactly something that does fit our buy box. So let's go sit down with Nick. Burton, what's up, kid?
What's up?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. 2025, coming up on 10 years. May
10-year anniversary.
May it'll be 10.
10 years.
Yep.
How time flies. We've been through some stuff.
Feels like 20.
Littler sent me a real nice message on New Year's Eve. He's like, hey man, it's been a roller coaster. We've been together for so long time. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. And he just sent a really, really cool message. So great dude. I mean, the whole journey though is, it's a cycle. Like you got to understand there's always ups, there's always down, there's always in the middle. Dude, if you're not pushing the envelope of the extremes of both highs and lows, and you're just kind of living in the middle and never too excited and never too dull, but always playing it safe. Dude, like that living happens in the extremes, I think.
Yeah, makes the good times real good.
Yeah.
And the bad times, you're just like, I've done this before. Yeah. I can figure this out.
This too shall pass.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. It's the beginning of the year. A lot of the messages and comments and questions and those kinds of things that have been coming across have been, there's a lot of ambition, a lot of people going out like looking for deals, and I found that there's a lack of clarity in what people are looking for.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, I'm just looking for good deals. Like, what does that mean? Tell me about when people send you deals and like, kind of what are the goals, right? What are your ambitions? What are the clarity? Because people send us properties all the time, and like, how important is it, and how do you define exactly what you're looking for?
I get this all the time. It's if you don't know what you are looking for, you can't tell other people and have them look out for you for those things.
Yep.
Like if I just say, hey, I'm looking for deals, like what does that mean? Are you looking for a single family house? Are you looking for apartment building? Are you looking for, to buy a laundromat? You have no clue what that means. You could still be a pretty high level of what you want. I buy multifamily in these states that are roughly this size, and I want them built after 2000. Like that's a good enough metric. But it makes it so important that if you have a team or you have other people looking at deals or, people bring you deals, they can quickly figure out, hey, is this something that I'm interested in, or is this something that he's interested in? Hey, it was built in 1962, he's only looking for 2000 newer, done. It's in Alaska, he's only buying in Ohio, done. Like you can just sort through so many more deals, and it's very easy. Like I have a templates page or templates note on my computer, and I have all my responses for every single buying criteria, like for any situation, and just copy and paste. But it should be short enough to read it in 10 seconds, but it should be long enough to eliminate, 90% of deals that might come your way.
I think people get so desperate about wanting to get a deal done that they're like open to looking at any criteria. And when you're open to looking at any criteria, like people don't take you that serious because you're not focused, and they're like, hey, here, let me sling some shit against the wall and see if this idiot's dumb enough to buy it. And that's kind of deals that you get sent. And if you are this focused on exactly what you're looking for, and dude, we went down the road of not being that focused, right? Like anybody who came through the coaching platform, they brought us a deal, like we would partner up with them.
It was really just 100 plus unit buildings. That's
100 plus units, and it had to meet the all-in for 70 cents on the dollar, so that way we could refinance, get all our investors, like, that was essentially the Burr method, and that was it. And we would go in any state, and we got spread out into 12 different states. And what they don't tell you is when you go into 12 different states, you got to learn 12 different state laws, and you got to find attorneys in 12 different states, and you have to find management companies in 12 different states, and you have to find, understand the navigating of the legal system and the court system and the
utility companies are different,
dude.
Yeah.
And then you got laws in Louisiana that are based on French law, and then you have landlord-friendly states, and then you have tenant-friendly states, and then you got dude, it's all the different things that come with building a business in each different state. You got to go through that again, and so. I've come to the mindset of quantity is not better, quality is better. And going deeper into a handful of markets, like 2 or 3 markets, is much better than going wide into several different markets. And it's just more efficient in order to do it that way. So that's why one of the things that we've done is, one of the things that I would totally do is you got to define your market, right? Defining where you want to invest. It's not all over the country. I would find a couple of either states or cities to invest in.
Yeah.
So
I would pick, I would start depending on where you are, but within 2 hours of where you are, great start.
I agree.
Maybe if you're somewhere like, New York City or somewhere else, maybe you can branch out, but I would pick a city, 1 or 2 cities, and then within 2 hours, make sure there's an airport there so you can get there, make sure you have good contacts there, a partner or something like that there. That's the key.
That is the key, because people think, hey, maybe I'll go to the Southeast, maybe I'll go to Texas, maybe I'll go out west or go to Idaho or Arizona or these places that are growing like crazy. Dude, who do you know there?
Yeah.
What resources do you have there? What power team members do you have out there? Do you have what does it look like? And I think that the best places to start definitely is in your own backyard. Within 2 hours of your house, I think is a perfect suggestion. And then also, I wouldn't even look at another market unless there's somebody that I intimately trust living in that market, who's boots on the ground, who's all in, full time, doing this business in that marketplace is the only way I would look to get into a different market.
Yeah.
Not somebody who's willing to travel there and they're there sometimes. They can be there once a month. Dude, you need somebody full time, all the time, boots on the ground, walking these properties multiple times a week. If you're going to really build and buy an asset that's $5 million or $10 million or $100 million, you need to treat it like a $100 million business. You need to treat it like a $10 million business. This is a real thing that needs to get the attention. It's not passive, right?
I mean, that's why our buying criteria has changed to within 2 hours of, couple hours of Charleston, because we're there and we know we have a shit ton of contacts there. And then same with Cleveland. Half our team's in Cleveland. The only places in Ohio we're really looking at is Cleveland and maybe Columbus, which is 2 hours.
Yep. And that's it. And it's not because those are better markets, not because there's certain market data. And it's dude, that's where our team is. We're from Cleveland.
Yeah.
Half of our operations team lives in Cleveland, and then the other half of us live in Charleston.
Yeah.
And so we have a bunch of stuff that goes down to Savannah, or we have stuff in Charleston area. We got a couple things in Western North Carolina, just with the mountain house and stuff. So in these areas that we have other properties, we're looking to expand in those areas only because we have scale in those areas, not because they're better or whatever.
Or we're there frequently. We go to the mountain house plenty, and there's other people that we know that go there plenty. So.
Yep. No, I agree. All right. So that's location-wise.
Yeah.
How about type of property, like the class of the property itself? A class, B class, C class, D class. What should people be looking for, and what gives them the clarity on that?
Depends on how much work you really want to put in. We used to just buy, some dogs, some heavy value add stuff, and nothing stabilized, nothing real nice. And I think that was because I didn't understand creative financing and all these other levers that you can pull. It was always just 70% or less, all in for 70 cents on the dollar. All in for 70 cents on the dollar. Now I know how to buy stuff where I can be all in for 85 cents on the dollar, and it's infinitely less work. Mm-hmm. So taking down deals, I think, is the most, if you can get wins and good solid deals when you're trying to scale up, I think that's fine. I think you can, if you're in a C plus area or B minus area and you get a 6 unit, that's a great deal. I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with that now, since we have so much other stuff going on. But at one point, it was perfect layup.
I agree. I think depends on where you are in your journey.
Yeah.
Right. Just like I started out, had a painting business, right, and then I interned for a home builder, and then I got a real estate license, and then I bought a single family home, and then I bought a duplex, and then I got into small multi, and and I got into C class or D class, and then C class, and then B class, and now A class. It's like, it's part of your journey, and depending on where you are in your journey, it's okay to buy C class stuff. You probably just don't want to stay there long term as you grow.
It's the same process that I see tons of people go through. You start out wholesaling in the hood, then you start wholesaling in the suburbs, then you start holding a couple things, or maybe flipping a little bit. Then you go, hey, this gets too transactional. It's the same thing. Everybody gets too transactional on that side. Hey, let's start buying and holding. You buy small, you get a little bit bigger, a little bit nicer. And then I think the end of that whole journey, I think, is you becoming the bank. I think that's where it stops.
Yeah, let me write
if you stay in A class
properties, right?
That's probably where it ends.
LP in A class properties.
Yeah, we're not there, but we're close.
Well, we built the business, like we have a fund, right? Every property is its own fund, but then we have our debt fund, right? The legacy cash flow fund that's launching probably by the end of January, where people can just passively invest into that and make a fixed 10 to 12% return, like clockwork, paid quarterly. No upside, no downside, and how well the property does.
That's the next
right?
tier.
So we're excited about that, but we have all the operations built out. We have the team in place. We have the regional, all the C-level executive team operationally, all the mid-level managers, all the site-level team, all the SOPs. We have property management software coming out. So it's like, we'll probably always be operators, but we will probably fund a lot of our own deals as the LP as well, is what kind of how I see it. And maybe, certain people in like legacy family or people that we know, we trust, that have been in our network for a while, that we know that they're relationship based. I think we would fund a lot of those deals too. But no, I agree. I think the value add stuff is great because it helped us build the balance sheet to then qualify for the bigger deals, the nicer deals, the better areas, all those kinds of things. We had to start somewhere. Where I think a lesson that was learned was, I don't want too many value add going on at one time.
Yeah.
Because now you're just spread thin because they all need a lot of attention. It's really nice to have, the property we just bought is 97% occupied. The 2 vacant units in that property are rent-ready condition, right? It's like, boom, all we do is we step in and we start collecting rent right away. Like that's but we paid a premium for it.
Yeah.
We paid a retail price for it. We'll bump rents over the next 3 to 5 years and create that, 30% cushion above what we bought it for. But at the same time, we paid a retail price. Whereas the value add stuff, we're in for 60 cents, 70 cents on the dollar. But dude, we got to go through the same 2-year process to restabilize it to have that 30% cushion. And so, but we have construction risk, we have financing risk, we have lease up risk, we have ongoing management kind of risk. Like there's a lot more risk over there. But it worked really well for us because we were able to get into deals that, the guys buying the stabilized stuff weren't typically even competing. So like we were able to go and snag up all these properties and really grow a substantial portfolio because we were open to getting our hands dirty. But I don't think that's where you want to stay long term. But understanding what that balance looks like of maybe you're building one, you're renovating one, you buy something stabilized, or you buy something stabilized, you do a fixer-upper, and then figuring out what works for you and based on your access to resources could be a great way of looking at it.
And something that I didn't realize for a while is I would much rather have a stabilized property that makes $100 per unit per month than go through the whole value add process for something that makes $200 per unit per month. It's not worth the spread on, unless it's really easy and really simple. But usually, if I can just get into something easy, safe, good to go, and not make as much money, nowadays I'd much rather do that. And then maybe every once in a while I get one of these heavier lifts.
Well, I think it hindsight's 20/20, right? But I agree 100%. I don't think we needed to wait and do as many value add deals as we did, right? Like we got up to 5,000 doors of all value add, nothing was stabilized. And it's like, I don't know, we probably could have pivoted at 1,500 or 2,000 or whatever, and just started buying nice, clean, stabilized stuff. I was talking to Jed about this on the drive down as, we're at one of our Airbnbs right now outside of Charleston, and We have a couple other development projects and stuff going on in the area, and we just visited one of our development projects. Like, this is something that's been under construction for 5 years, right? We've had other partners, we've had to buy out of this deal that weren't carrying their weight, or were spread thin. We've had to raise money a couple different times on the deal. We've had 3 different general contractors because the first 2 couldn't get the job done. We've had to fire both of those, get rid of both of those, finding lots of issues with both of them too, that we've had to fix up. And we brought this other one in where they're doing everything now, like everything we hoped the first 2 would have done. This new contractors, and I'm like, but it's been brain damage, right? We've had to go through 2 different construction loans also because the first one matured, and they wouldn't extend them, so we had to go. Like, it's been such a process in over 5 years that it's like, dude, I don't how much investor money did we raise? Probably $8 million, I think, on $8 million of investor cash in this deal. It's like, I could have taken that. We could have bought 2 or 3 other deals and cycled through them, refinanced, and bought another 2 or 3 other deals in that same 5-year period with the same amount of money, without the risk, without the brain damage, and had more equity, more upside, and all that stuff if we would have just done it that way. But it'll be an awesome project. I'm super excited about location, where it is, and all that kind of stuff. But it's been a constant battle on this one property versus what if you just bought some stabilized stuff? Like, we bought this building, already had a tenant over here, right? It's got a restaurant downstairs, it's got an Airbnb unit, right? Everything is already in place. We were able to increase the rent by a little bit more, about 13% on this tenant next door. Signed a lease, not a problem. They were happy to do it. They knew that they were under rent anyways. Downstairs, we got a 5-year lease term extension signed with the downstairs tenant. So now we're good until June of 2030 now. And then the Airbnb, we put it with Dan Rivers and his team, Synergy Stays, and we were already generating about $4,000 a month in gross revenue. They think they can push it to around 5,000, right? And so, like, dude, boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, it's already stabilized, very low risk. The hardest thing on this is just it's under $1 million, so the financing was kind of tough to get. But I love properties like this for where we are currently today in our portfolio, because this is kind of stuff that we can come in and bring operational efficiencies and not have to deal with the construction. Now, there's people, like Josh Dixon, who's a stud at construction, who might want more of a value add type play because he handles that. He's in that space full time. We're not. We're more managerially, operationally increasing income, decreasing expenses. That's where we really shine, and that's the kind of stuff that I want to focus on. But depending on who you are, where you're at, what your skills are, that could be the play. Yeah. How about size? Like, what about size? Is there a sweet spot that people should be looking at? If they've never done a 100-unit deal, should they be looking at 100-unit deals?
Yeah, I would. If I was somebody starting out, I think that 5 to 30 unit range is really great, and then 30 to 100's a different range, and then 100 plus after that. But if we just had to go out and find 8-unit deals or 15-unit deals, the best part about that is more of those properties are owned in an individual's name. They're more mom and pop than a 200-unit building or 500-unit building. So it's easier to work with them, easier to get deals done, easier to get a hold of them. And
there's more of them.
And there's a shit ton more. So
you can have a little bit more. When we were flipping houses, we were doing 8 to 10 houses a month, turnkey single-family houses, and then you get into multifamily. Like, I was doing my goals yesterday, and it's like, dude, I want to close probably 2 to 4 deals this year. Now, if one of those doesn't hit, then guess what? I'm down by somewhere between 25 to 50% on what my goals were for this year. And at the same time, we could potentially do more. If you don't have the patience, if you don't have the long-term vision, planning, goals, and you need that excitement, I think the smaller stuff makes a lot of sense, right? It kind of starts getting the momentum built up.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of go with 5 to 20 millions, our sweet spot.
I agree.
This is under $1 million. So, and it's awesome. So, there's exceptions to everything, but yeah, 3 to 20 million is.
This is an area where we own other stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of other stuff. Like, we have probably, we have 15, we have another $30 million of property just in this little area. We have another $40 million of property 45 minutes away, right? And we're looking to do more stuff in these areas. And so this gives us another reason to, keep the staff busy, keep the staff excited, give them something else to do. People who are staying at this property might be interested in staying at one of our other properties. There's a lot of synergies that come in with that, which is why it made sense even at the level and size of properties that we're buying today. But I think thinking through that stuff, right? Like realizing you don't need a 100-unit apartment building in one area. What if you bought 5 20-unit buildings all in one area? Got the momentum built up, showed some progress with your investors, showed some progress with your team, showed some progress with your local lenders and all that kind of stuff, and kind of grew that way. And you still have all that property in the same area. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Are there any other bullet points that we're missing? We talked about the area, we talked about the location, or the area, the class of the building, and the size of the property. Anything else that somebody really needs to hone in on and define?
Yeah, price, size.
Class of area.
Yeah.
Class of building.
Yeah.
And then
I guess
overall region or whatever.
Maybe one other thing you could throw in there is maybe if you need creative financing, like maybe if you need seller financing to do it. I get that sometimes. People are like, hey, I'd love to buy this, but I'm buying everything only with some kind of creative financing. Like if you're okay with 5% down or whatever, you carry the rest. Like there's people that only do deals that way, but that would probably be it.
Yeah, I think.
Or minimum occupancy. That's another one.
I agree. That's a big deal because
stabilize their value
financing.
Yeah.
You need to be at 90%. Yeah,
occupancy. Stabilize their value add. So like most of mine, I'm always looking for at least 80%. Really 90% is what I want, but we can work things through it at 80 and above.
Yeah. So once somebody has this criteria fully clear in their mind, what's the next step?
I would try to put it in front of as many people as you can. I would post in Facebook groups. I'd be like, hey, this is what I'm buying. Let me know what you got. I would hit up every broker in that market, in those areas, and let them know, hey, this is what I'm looking for. What do you have in the pipeline? I've seen what, listed and not listed. What do you have? I would hit up every other investor that I know, every other wholesaler that I know. I would just let everybody know what I'm buying. Because if they don't know what you're looking for, they have no reason to send it to you.
Agreed. Dude, I remember, I think the Medina building we got from just shooting out emails every single week to our investor database. Yeah. And some lady gets it, and we would just be like, hey, we're buying apartments, we're buying multifamily, send us your deals, we're looking in this area, we're looking in that area. And we would always just kind of tweak it a little bit or change things up a little bit and say, hey, if you send us a deal, maybe we'll pay you a commission or we'll kick you some equity or figure out what's in it for them too. And I remember that was she wasn't even she was like an executive assistant for somebody who was in real estate. But her husband was like a slumlord of this 24 units in Medina. And she's like, my husband we'd love to sell this property. And we're like, okay. So we came in, bought 24 units for what, $500,000?
Something like that.
Just in a great area.
Around 500 G's.
But it was a dump. I don't know if we've done a deal that has been that big of a turnaround.
I had talked to the city and they said it was the worst property in the city.
Yeah.
And now it's one of the best.
Dude, for something that's not new construction, it is one of the best. Yeah. Like it's got all new flooring, all new paint, all new fixtures,
everything.
All new bathrums, all new kitchens.
New roofs.
It's got brand new roofs, right? Remember they were flat and then we put in the pitched roofs. Dude, you know what happened is one of the utility companies, we called them out and they were doing something for like $500. They would insulate your entire building. So they came in and poked holes in all the walls and they did spray foam insulation in all the different walls around the property. And it was like $500 to do it. And they had some subsidy grant in order to make properties more energy efficient. And we got that done. We had a bunch of other insulation, I think, underneath the properties because they were on like crawl spaces or whatever, I remember. With 24 units, man, now we're getting phone calls at $100,000 a door for people who want to buy them. And I think it's worth more than that, right? Like we're renting them for $1,000 a month or maybe a little bit more. So like it's a really, and there's land to add additional, probably another 6 to 12 units on the property if we ever wanted to do that. So it's cool to see some of these things come full circle, but it's like, to your point, it's just making people aware that that's what you're buying, making people aware that this is what you do and how you do it, and talking about it, not being a secret agent. And if people understand that this is something you look for, then you're the one who comes top of mind. Yep. You're always top of mind, and they bring it to you first. So that's awesome, man. Well, appreciate the clarity. If you don't have this level of clarity of knowing exactly what you want to buy and you're not talking to people about it, like make it a point. Spend 30 minutes after this podcast, sit down and say, hey, here's the states or cities I want to buy in. Here's the class of the property I want. Here's the class of the area that I want. Here's the size of the building that I want. Here's any other, miscellaneous criteria that are relevant to you and your situation. Like the creative financing or like certain occupancy or value add versus stabilize, all that kind of stuff. Write it all down, make it fully clear to you, and then shoot out an email with just those bullet points to everybody who's already in your network of saying, I'm looking for apartment buildings. Post it on your social media, post it in your local Facebook real estate group and tell people this is exactly what I'm looking for. Send me all your deals. And realize you're gonna get a lot of shit, a lot of crap properties, and your job is to sort through those. And the faster you can sort through these deals, underwrite them quickly, make offers on them, and then do the due diligence process and execute on a handful of these deals, you're going to start building a reputation for somebody who closes, and more deals are going to start coming. It's always hardest to get the momentum rolling at the beginning.
Yep.
Once it's rolling, dude, now it's got its own motion and movement to it. And so we get deal flow just because we're relevant in the space now, where we're not even hunting for deals. Obviously we are all the time, but we always have deals that come to us too. So make sure you're doing that. And hopefully you have a happy 2025. I hope it's your best year yet. Hey, hopefully you guys got some good takeaways out of that. Again, make sure that you're sitting down, creating your own buy box, creating your own buying criteria, having full 100% clarity over exactly what you're looking to buy, and document it, right? And then have that ready to go so that way you can share that with wholesalers and flippers and real estate professionals, anybody in your local market, so that way they can send you those deals. And again, you come top of mind, first person that they think of whenever they come across a deal that would fit that criteria. You need to constantly be putting it in front of people that this is exactly what you buy in these areas, this type of class of property, and that's what's going to get you better deal flow. So make sure you put that to work. Let me know how it goes, and hope 2025 is your best year yet.